Good morning. Today we're going to do breathing. Just wait to see if anybody comes on. I'm drinking my hot lemon with honey and ginger. Good morning. Good morning. I have to excuse my thing. I think it's a bit slower on Facebook. I'm just saying, I'm just drinking my honey, lemon, hot water, ginger. They say it's supposed to be very good. Drink hot water. I don't know. Give everything a try, can't we? You can sit in any position. I'm sitting this way because it makes it easy to see my belly. Oh, hello, Winter as well. Got a baby there. Can do some breathing. So, yeah, like I said, I'm just waiting to see if anybody else comes on. I've got Facebook on one and Insta on the other. Good girl, lemon and hot water. I just look a bit weird. I've had to turn it round slightly because I've got the sun coming in, so I can't actually see. I couldn't see the other way. I just had the sun blaring on the screens. Now, I'm going to say good morning to everybody, and we'll get set up. Like I said, this is only going to be about 15 minutes. It's not going to be very long. It's just about talking about breathing. Because in the hour I don't really get a chance to do it. I'm going to stay up on my legs. So, with it, you need your nose, you need your stomach. Now, if we think of our lungs, they're like a big balloon. So, as you breathe in, you make the balloon bigger, and as you breathe out, you make the balloon smaller. And I've got a lovely book. I do love my books. So this is even more so for winter. Now, it will be back to front, so don't worry about what it's saying. But if you think about the lungs and the diaphragm, as you breathe out, they get smaller. The diaphragm comes up and it pushes air out of the lungs. As you breathe in, they get bigger, the diaphragm drops, so that it widens so that the lungs can fill with more air. Now, as the air goes in, it goes in through into these bits here, the alveoli. And in there's an exchange happens between the two gases. And we've got a lovely, hence why I like these books, because they're really good at describing. So, as you breathe in, you're bringing in oxygen into the lungs, into these little bits here. And you've got deoxygenated or carbon dioxide filled blood coming into the lungs. As it goes round, all the carbon dioxide, all the rubbish comes out of the lungs, and all the oxygen goes into the lungs, and then it goes off out to the body. And that happens every time you breathe. Okay, so that's what's happening, and it goes into this area here. Now, if you were to breathe in through your mouth, you'll notice that the air that goes in there, it's really dry, and it's really cold. So if you want to have a go now, you can, by all means, just open your mouth and go. And you'll feel, hiya Sue, this is good for you. Think about breathing is really good, and I'll explain again at near the end. But if you breathe in through the mouth, you'll find that it's really cold and it's really dry. So you don't want that dry coldness going into the throat. You want to keep it moist and you want to keep it warm. But then there's also anything in the air, so any flies, any bits of dust, any particles in the air. So again, if we're outside and we're coming into not just the coronavirus thing, but we're coming into hay fever season. So if there's any pollen in the air as well, that tends to, if you breathe in through the mouth, gets down into the throat, and that causes irritation. And again, when it's cold, when it's damp, you'll find that it's also freezes the lungs, and this is why we get pneumonia and pleurisy and lung problems. So breathing through the nose, you've got these little hairs inside the nose, and what they do is every time you breathe in, they catch anything, any impurities in the air. They trap them in the hair. As you breathe out, they'll push out some of them. Now, I know that people don't like the idea, but as long as you wash your hands afterwards, you've got a tissue there, picking your nose at the end of the night cleans out all the debris that's been kind of left up there, so that you're not lying down with it and it's not dropping back into your throat and causing throat problems there. So picking your nose is very good. Blowing it, but sometimes blowing it doesn't get it out. You've got to have a kind of, and don't use your fingernail. If you can, use a moist cotton bud just to pull it round and pull the stuff down. So, I mean, if you want to use your fingers, but make sure you clean everything out. But you do need to clean out that nose. The same way we clean out, we give ourselves a good cough and we clean out our throat, and you'll clean out your ears. The same way your nose has to be cleaned out. And sometimes, like I said, it won't blow out. You have to pick it out. So that's what it's doing. It's going into the lungs. It's making the lungs bigger. But if we take it through the nose, it makes it a lot nicer. Then there are 3 lobes in the lungs. And so another book. Oh, let me show you that book again. So this is our photo book. And like I said, for everybody just joining, as you breathe out, the lungs get smaller. The diaphragm comes up. As you breathe in, it opens out. It gets bigger. And then as the air comes in through this area, it's unoxygenated. Carbon dioxide is here. It gets transferred into these parts of the lungs and oxygen gets thrown in there. And then you breathe out the rubbish. This book is the Human Pop-Up Book. I need to tell people what it is just in case I get told off for not showing people. So, very good book. And then I've got the Human Body. I don't know who's it, by D&K. And on here, it'll show you the 3 lobes. So you've got your lower lobe down here, you've got a lobe here, and you've got another lobe here. So there's 3 lobes of the lungs. And they breathe in. And most of the time, we tend to only breathe into these 2. We forget about this lower lobe. And this tends to be this area at the bottom. So if you place your hands on your belly and you breathe out, you should find that the belly comes back in. As you breathe in, you want to see if you can get the belly to come out. So you should feel that pulling in. So this one is really good because at the same time as pushing that air out the bottom of the lungs, it also works the stomach muscles. But you should feel it here as well. So again, if I breathe out and then breathe in, push against there, and then as you breathe in, you should feel it pushing against the side of your hands. And then there's also the back. So if I turn around here, as I breathe out, and then breathing in. Maybe if I do it sideways, it might be easier to see. Okay, so that's the lower part. Then you've got a top area here. Like I said, this mainly is sort of the area that we breathe into. So again, I'll go sideways. I'm going to breathe out and I'm going to pull my belly in. So I'm using that pelvic floor. So you imagine yourself in a lift and you squeeze in between your bum cheeks. You imagine you're going to stop yourself from having a wave and you pull from there. And then as you breathe out, pull this lower part of the stomach in. Then breathing in from the here as well. So then you're going to breathe in just to here, but not here. okay? But it's also the sides as well. So again, I'm going to breathe out, pulling that stomach muscle in, tightening up my pelvic floor. I'm bringing it down. So then we're going to do the back. I'll move my hair. I'll go slightly sideways. Now think about my shoulder blades. And relaxing. So then there's the last bit up here. I'm just going to drop to my legs. So from here, this one is a little bit harder to feel. You've got to kind of place your fingers here. I'm going to breathe out and pull my stomach muscles in. See if I come a bit closer. So I'm pulling everything out. So you notice, hopefully you notice that my fingers move just slightly. So this is trying to work all the 3 different areas of the lungs. Put your hands wherever you feel you need to. So on the side, at the front, here and here. Give yourself a hug. Put your fingers here. Try the different areas. Now, it's not going to come overnight. It's because we tend to breathe. And the minute we start breathing, we start to get a bit worried about our breathing because we sort of think, oh, I can't actually remember how to breathe. If you ever feel like you're getting a bit worried, a bit panicky, then do a cleansing breath. So you're breathing in through the nose again if you can. And then you're going out through the mouth as if you're blowing a candle out. And what they'll do is they'll bring your breathing back to a more normal. So it kind of recalibrates your brain, makes you remember how to breathe. As long as you breathe out, that's basically what we need to do. Is thinking about breathing out. You're breathing naturally, because your lungs are a vacuum. So the minute you let the air out and you stop breathing out, you will breathe back in again. But we'll go through that when we come to other ones as well. Now, what the breathing does for our brain and our mind is it helps us to relax. Because if we're thinking about what's happening with our lungs, where we're breathing at different points, then our brain stops thinking, oh, about the coronavirus, oh, I've got to do the shopping, I've got to go and see somebody, I did this last year, I'm going to do that in a year's time. Which is fine to think about them things, but not constantly, and especially if it's starting to get you down. So being able to just lie down, relax, think about your breathing, that's a great thing to be able to do. And so that's what I'm going to get you to do now. I'm going to get you to, if you can, lie down. If you want, just sit down. I'm going to sit up, otherwise you won't be able to see. And I'm going to place my hands here and here. I'll turn to the side. We're going to start by breathing out. I'll do it that way. Makes it easier to see. So we're going to breathe out through the nose, pulling in the stomach, pulling in the chest. Then we're going to start breathing in through the nose and trying to get into the belly first. And then trying to get into the chest. Then as we breathe out, we're going to try and bring the chest down first. And then the belly. So if you can, close your eyes. Just focus on your breathing. So, for the next few days, for the next week, what I want to do is to keep practicing that breathing, to get the breath in at the bottom and lift and open the lungs. Start off, do it as long as you don't bother counting it, don't worry about it, but when you're ready, see if you can make it longer and longer and longer, that you're breathing in for and you're breathing out for, that you're slowing it down. So you're breathing in slowly, trying to fill the whole 3 dimensions of the lungs. You're filling the 3 sections of the lungs, lifting them all the way up and doing the same thing, slowly breathing out. So, I'm going to give a few people some waves. And I hope you're going to... yeah. So, yeah. Keep doing the breathing techniques anytime, especially if you're feeling a bit anxious, if that brain starts going and you're getting a bit nervous about anything. Just sit down, find somewhere, it doesn't necessarily have to be quiet, but just try and focus on your breathing. If you want, put on a bit of background music, something nice and relaxing, lie down, do it in the bed, but just try and focus on that breathing as much as you can. If anybody's got a question, they can put it through to me and I will try and answer it. Anybody want anything? And next week I will continue with this breathing, but what I will do is, are you live streaming every time and at what time? I'm not live streaming every day. I'm taking my weekend off as I normally would. But Monday, Monday it will be 7:30, freestyle fitness yoga. Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock is chair yoga, very low chair yoga. Wednesday, 6:30 is it would be my family yoga. But it's just a yoga session, hatha. Thursday morning, 10 o'clock is a bit more than the chair yoga, but it's still a low yoga for people with high blood pressure, diabetes, joint problems, back problems, things like that. So a little bit nicer for those. And then Thursday evening, 7:30 again is freestyle fitness yoga, so a bit faster. And then every Friday at 11 o'clock, I'll do a breathing technique, and I will put them up and share them as well, so that if you miss these, they should be on my Facebook page or my Instagram page, so you can grab me there. I will try and use my books as well, because I do think sometimes visual is better than just me talking. But again, if you want, you can DM me, you can text me, ask me anything you need, and I'll try and get back to you as well. So is there anything more? No? Okay, thank you all for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you all on Monday. Stay safe, stay in if you can. I know some people have got caring duties. I've got to go and care for mum, so I can't really stop in. But if you can, stay in. It'll help. Yes, I will put a schedule on all of my social pages over the weekend. Give me something to do as well as clean my house. So thank you very much. And yeah, take care, everybody. Lots of love. Thank you so much for all coming and having a look. And see you later. Bye-bye. I'll put them up and finish. I'll finish now. Thank you. Bye. If I can work out how to finish. Finish, ending, and end.